Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Art Deco Liquid Camouflage Full Cover Foundation. Now, my reviews are a first impressions. I will do the application this morning. It's shortly before 8 a.m. and then I will wear it throughout my entire workday without touching up, and we will see how it looks once I end the workday roughly around 5 p.m. Art Deco is a brand that can be pretty hard to find in Canada. There is only one Shoppers Drug Mart in Toronto that I know of that sells the entire range of products, but it is available on beautyboutique.com to all of Canada. If you are in Europe, I believe it is much easier to find Art Deco as they are a German brand, so anywhere in the surrounding areas of Germany should have a much easier time to get their hands on it. One thing that has to be said is that Art Deco's shade range is pretty small. I'm looking at my press sheet right here and there are only 6. And the funny thing about this is that it encourages you for cool tones to use the 3 palest shades, and if you're warmer to use the 3 darker shades. But I mean, like, this is as dark as it gets. So their shade range is pretty limited. I have 2 shades here and I'm not sure which one's gonna work for me. They're both on the cool tone side because that is the paler side of things. One is 12 Light Apricot and the other one is 16 Rosy Sand. For skin reference, I am around a MAC NW NC20. A lot of people tend to say that I have quite pink undertones, but I tend to see a lot of yellow in my skin. I do prefer a neutral foundation so that I can be somewhere right in the middle. It is springtime right now in Toronto and my skin is pretty dry throughout the winter, but it goes a little bit oily throughout the summer. So I'm somewhere in the middle point there as well. I am not super oily, but I'm not super dehydrated either. So I'm gonna put my hair back and we are going to get into the application of this foundation. Art Deco says that the versatile liquid camouflage is easy to wear and has natural opacity without making the skin look caked in makeup. Thanks to the high proportion of ultrafine ground pigments, a flawless finish can be achieved. Skin is perfectly covered without the foundation being visible on the skin. The elastic finish prevents any depositing and enables the makeup to move like a second skin when you make any facial expressions. They do also say that you can cover skin impurities and blotches, and tattoos can also be concealed with this foundation, which leads me to believe that it's quite a thick coverage foundation. Okay, so that's the foundation applied and that was quite the process. My face looks very tan right now. I originally mixed 16 and 12 together because I thought 16 was gonna match a little bit better because it did look like the color of my face. However, it's too dark for my neck and it was showing like quite the difference between my neck and my face. So I ended up wiping off with a Kleenex the lower half of my face and just applying number 12. Now, this color is still too dark for me. I'm not sure how much is showing up on camera, but I can see quite a difference between where I've taken it down to where my neck actually is. So, their palest shade, I think, yeah, this is their palest shade, is still too dark for me. Which is not something that normally happens. I'm usually able to get away with at least the lightest shade in a foundation, and I'm not the palest person out there. I do think it has oxidized a little bit on my hand. That is definitely darker than when I first put it on. Actually, let's take a look. If I just plop some out. Yeah, okay, yes. That is a little bit lighter than where it ended up. All right, so I'm gonna go put the rest of my makeup on and I will be right back. That's the rest of my face makeup done. Everything went on pretty fine. I didn't notice a difference. I avoided putting bronzer down here just because my face is darker than I am used to. I'm used to warming my face up with bronzer, and at this point, my face is a different color than my neck, so I definitely don't need that. I do feel like it's still a bit tacky. It's not like totally coming off on my hands, but it's definitely not dried down either. I would not call this transfer proof just yet. All right, it is currently 8:11 a.m. and I have to run to work. So I won't be touching up throughout the day. I haven't applied powder or setting spray. We're just gonna see how this wears on its own, and I will be back around 5 o'clock and we'll see how it did. Okay, end of the day. It is currently 5:08 p.m. and I got a few thoughts on this foundation. My overall lasting impression is that I do not like it, but I'm not quite sure because it actually has a ton of positive things going for it. Fundamentally, my face makeup has not changed. I'm actually pretty impressed with how it looks. I'm a little bit shiny, but that's not unexpected. We've hit a sudden heat wave in Toronto. It's over 20 degrees, which is a little bit much because we've been dealing with 0 degrees for quite a while, so this feels very, very warm to me. This foundation has been incredibly comfortable to wear. I often mention that foundation gives me that itchy feeling on my face, and I have not had that at all with this one, which is absolutely fantastic. It also doesn't sink into my laugh lines or my forehead lines when I raise my eyebrows, which is incredible because not very many foundations will fight against that action on my face. So that's been great as well. And the foundation also did really stay put on my nose, which is impressive. That is a problem area for me, and I usually end up with a red nose by the end of the day just because the foundation has all slid off. However, my number one problem with this foundation is that it is really surprising that the shade range does not encompass somebody of my skin tone. And I'm trying to phrase this so that I'm not going to be offensive to anyone, but I'm trying to get my point across. So I am a light person. I'm not quite fair, but I am pretty pale. I'm white. And I can usually reach out to any brand in the world and I can find my shade range. So I'm a little bit at a loss that this doesn't come in my shade. And that comes from a point of privilege to be able to say, you know, how dare they not have my shade? And I realize that in me saying this, it is offensive, but it only makes me realize how enraged I would be if I was a person of color trying to find a shade match. I'm annoyed because one brand won't match my skin tone. I can't imagine how people with much deeper skin than me feel when brand after brand after brand do not provide a shade that will match them. The lightest shade in this collection is too peach and too dark for me right now. And I am light, but I am not fair. So the fair people are completely screwed out of this collection, and the mid-tone and darker people are completely screwed out of this collection because they just don't make anything past like a medium sand color. So yeah, the shade range has left me with a super sour taste in my mouth. The other annoying thing about this foundation is that the website says that it is smudge proof after it dries. Well, this thing never really dried and it is definitely transferable. I don't even remember touching my face that much, and I just like all of a sudden saw foundation on my nails. And I think it came off a ton on my phone too when I was on the phone talking to somebody earlier. I was just not impressed with how it would lift off my face so easily. And I really don't trust foundations that do that. I don't see the point. If you're gonna make a foundation, make it transfer proof. Like, I know a lot of people apply powder in order to do that, but why would you ever create a foundation that is not transfer proof? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So at the end of the day, there are a lot of pros with this foundation, but the cons for me just outweighed the pros. And the number one problem I have is that the lightest shade just won't work for me. So I'm not gonna try to make this work because it's way too dark. And honestly, I don't wanna be wearing this in the summer either when I deepen up in skin tone, because if it transfers so easily right now, I just don't wanna be dealing with that in the summer when I'm gonna be even warmer and sweatier. It's just gonna like come off on everything. So for me, this foundation is a pass, but maybe there was something in what I said that will help you out if you're interested in purchasing this. I realize we don't all have the same taste in foundation, so maybe this is gonna be something that works for you. So that's gonna be it for the Art Deco Liquid Camouflage Full Cover Foundation Review. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.